obviously it's really frustrating. I think it just comes like from our overall play. I think it's individual mistakes, but it's also just like our collective aggressiveness in the box and willingness to not get scored on. So we've discussed it. We worked a little bit on crossing and defending in the box. So it's definitely, it has to be better. No excuses there.
And then also as a leader, part of the leadership council and all that on this team, how is just kind of like the overall mood of the squad right now? How are you guys trying to keep, energy and motivation high as you kind of head into this thing?
I think we've just spoken about how it's only been 3 games and we can't let it be like an emotional roller coaster. We have really important home games coming up that has to be our 100% focus. So, what happened in the last 3 games happened, but we need to learn from it and move forward, but we can't dwell on it. We can't let that negative emotion continue because we want to have good weeks of training, and that can't happen if you're just thinking about last week.
How much of the problems defensively come down to possession and having more possession, and when you do lose it, where on the field?
I think that's a big thing. I think Kansas City was kind of happy with us having the ball along the back line, but then once we progressed and made a mistake, they were willing to punish us for it. So I think, if we can be sound in our possession, but we talked about being sound but not safe. Like we don't want to just be passing backwards and passing laterally. We want to be breaking lines, and we know that we can, but we just have to be smart in those moments and making sure that we're not giving a super transitional team a ton of opportunities to transition because they're going to do what they do and punish us.
Important is to remain aggressive in this. I thought in the San Diego game when Poe came in, she was aggressive. It's easy to say I'm not going to let him get behind me, but in the process you can concede so much space.
That's something that we kind of have to play with a little bit. I think we've discussed keeping our block a little bit tighter so that we're not giving space behind or in front of us. I think right now there's a big gap between our back line and our midfield, and then an even bigger gap between our forward line and our midfield line sometimes when we're trying to press. So we've spoken about closing those gaps, and then being aggressive, being front-footed, not being afraid to go into tackles because we have to be that aggressive front-footed team.
A year ago it was a slow start and you turned it around. It came so late in the year.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to happen this time. Can promise you that. We've talked about, we don't want to look at last year, but I think we're in a way better place, and we just don't want to think about, we have 3 games, but we have very important games coming up at home, and we're not willing to give up points at home. So that's going to be our mentality and our standard going forward. Talk about aggressiveness. Like, she's a feisty player. I think she brings that, 1v1 mentality that you're not getting past me. So I think it'll be really good to have her back on the training pitch and hopefully on the field and have that aggressiveness on the pitch as well.